So that's cool. We are going to have a much better setup very soon. We have a lot of stuff in the works for our. We lost the camera. We have a lot of stuff in the works for our other one, David. For these streams and our YouTubes and things, and so we will be in better quality and definition very soon. So, for those of you who are still on Instagram, we now have the Longa Terra Luna. And this is part of the Ricard Longa family.
Yep. Richard Longa plays Ricard.
Ricard, well, he's German, yeah?
Richard.
Yeah, he's German.
Dick Longa.
And this is another one of those everything but the kitchen sink kind of watches. You have a regulator setup where the hour, the minutes, and the seconds are all in separate little circles there, overlapping circles. You have a perpetual calendar, and then the real gun show on this one is in the back here, where we have the Earth, we have the moon and the phase of the moon, which is here down at the bottom, and then the balance wheel acts as the sun. And all of this rotates in relationship to the sun. The moon rotates in relationship to the Earth. And so once this is set properly, you know everything.
Well, so this also, we kind of joke. So we've had this, we've sold this piece several times. Not this exact one. We've sold several examples of this over the years. And this is one of those watches that once you get set, you keep it set.
Yeah, you don't want
it. It is not easy. Not the most user-friendly piece to get set, but once it is, so it has a 14-day power reserve.
I was just about to mention
which is ridiculous. So you do the work to get it set, and you're safe for a while. But yeah, so 336-hour power reserve. That power reserve indicator at 6 o'clock. Trying to think what else about this one that you have not already said, Rob. It's huge. It's massive.
Big.
I mean, it's 45 and a half.
In case you weren't aware.
And the thickness is 16.5 millimeters. So.
That actually, on my wrist, I would think that that's bigger than 16. So.
Well, what is the Zeit?
But I think that's because it's so square. Longa has, we talked about this last week too, Longa has these squared off cases. For lack of a better term, it's like a hockey puck or a cheeseburger.
Yeah, a hockey puck for sure. Like I just want to see, in comparison to the standard Zeit work, which already feels quite large. Yeah, that's 12.9. So, geez, this is, what?
A 4 mil.
3.6 millimeters bigger? Like, crazy.
Yeah, it's epic though. I mean, that's monster watchmaking. And this has that really cool deploy where if you had it done up as a deploy like this, it has a little release here so that you can actually slide this out.
A little quick release, yeah.
And you can open it up and admire that stunning case back, since that's probably the reason you bought this watch. At least it would be for me. Right. And then it slides right back together, so you don't have to yank the strap through every time.
So Henry Leo 714 said he's been thinking about the Terra Luna for a while, but he's just worried about the thickness and the price. Thickness you can get used to. Price. So we're asking $133.5 for this example,
which is a hell of a discount off of retail.
I was just gonna look that up real quick. I don't know off the top of my head anymore. But even just over the years, we've previously, when we've listed this piece, it's been $150 and above. So, as of right now, it kind of is a, everything is relative, but it's something of a good buy right now. But I just want to see if I can find the MSRP real quick. Yeah, so I don't know if this is the most up-to-date, but maybe in 2016, or maybe when it was introduced, it was $247.8.
No, that sounds current to me.
Does
that
it?
Sounds right. Because
2014.
It's definitely a 200 plus.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't even know. So this piece was fully serviced by Longa just this year as well. So that's all. I mean, that's a nice little.
And in terms of wearing it, because it has the deploy, that helps to offset the weight
on it a
little bit.
So
it helps to sit better on the wrist. I think also unless you're thinking about dailying this, as like an occasion watch or like as something really special, kind of like this would almost be, it could be a pinnacle piece in your collection, right? This could be like,
if you're a Longa guy,
the monster watch.
This
in
is
your
one
collection.
of those pieces that is really, like you said, you work your way up to it, kind of,
Slides right under the cuff.
I don't know about that.
I don't think I should size
big are
the
your
straps
cuffs, Rob?
properly,
Yeah.
but let's see. I mean, if you do proper cloth, they let you do a watch allowance.
Do they really?
You can request.
Oh, that's cool.
Request a watch allowance on whichever side you want, whether it's right or left. So you can say like, I need an extra, half an inch or something. I mean,
I think
if this was sized, There.
No,
under.
come here. I think you gotta go Gianni Agnelli style and just put it right over the cuff. If you're gonna,
I'm here for that.
You gotta show this thing off. Ready? Put it right over the old V-neck sweater here, and just there you go, Rob. Perfect. Looks,
there you go.
Looks great. Looks
Yeah.
great.
There you go.
So cool piece.
If
Thanks.
Jennifer Aniston can do it, you can do it.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Gianni Agnelli, Jennifer Aniston. I guess I'll take it. So cool, Henry. Glad we could show this one to you, guys. If there's anything else you want to see, drop a comment in the chat, and we'll send Craig running to grab stuff.
Or if you have questions,
Yeah.
if you have general comments, if you want to spark discussion, please do pop it in the chat. We
Yep.
are watching.
All right, Rob. Next up, where are you going?
Okay, I am going. I feel like we've gone both sides. Let's go vintage.
Yes,
Let's
this
go
is
vintage.
cool.
You're gonna have to remind me the reference on this one because it's not often that we here run into a reference we're unfamiliar with.
Yes, so that
was kind of cool.
This is a vintage Patek. The reference is the 3588. So white gold. This one dates to 1970. It is let's see, trying to find some details here for you. So 35 millimeter case, but kind of in that classic IWC, in that classic vintage Patek way. It's got a ton of dial and very narrow bezel, so it wears bigger than 35 millimeters. It's super thin. It's only 6.1 millimeters thick.
And why is it so thin?
So that I was gonna say, this is the fun part about this piece. This has the caliber 28255 movement in there, which is the same JLC-based movement that was used in the original Nautilus and in the original AP Royal Oak 5402. So kind of a crazy sleeper watch here with like a pretty important historic movement in it that really just like doesn't scream, doesn't shout. It's very just kind of straightforward and quiet, but it looks really modern actually.
Oh, it looks super modern. It's a great size. It's a great size. I really like how the crown is almost built into the case, so it doesn't interrupt the lines of the case, kind of like the old school Disco Volantes.
Yep.
You get this like perfectly round kind of thing. You get nicely proportioned lugs. And the blue dial is like original and perfect.
Yeah, it's got like a
really impressive
blue sunray effect to it, and then it has these like grooved white gold hour indices on there. So it's got a lot of cool, interesting texture. And so when it came in, the gentleman that we purchased it from had it on kind of like a blue, dusty gray blue suede strap, and it looked sweet. Like it looks amazing on this nice blue alligator, but I would absolutely throw it back on something more casual and just like totally daily that. It's just a really, really cool piece.
Super nice. And white gold.
Yep.
Which is cool. Yeah. Really, really nice.
That one, I think it might be available on the site right now.
Is that
Let's
live?
see.
Should
Yeah.
be. Super nice. And this is one of those things where like if you're a sport watch guy and you want a dress watch, but
Yeah.
you don't want to spend $30,000,
Right.
$40,000 on a Calatrava or a Longa one or something like that, this is a great shout. This is
Yeah.
a great way to get into a really nice, slick dress watch, not feel like your whole watch budget is tied up into a watch you don't wear that often.
Right.
Coming soon. Maybe
It is coming
tomorrow.
soon, right? Yeah, and this actually comes with archive as well. So it has Patek archive, confirming the details and everything.
What
which
year?
Is just that 1970.
70.
Yeah, really cool.
Cool.
Do you want to turn? I think maybe the Instagram phone over there. We're getting an echo from somewhere, but no big deal. So we just got a question on Instagram. So Hidden Horology asks. Thoughts about the recent Cartier craze, and what about Piaget? Well, you've come to the right place if you're asking
Justin
about...
doesn't know anything about Cartier.
I have no opinions about Cartier, don't worry. No, like I'm like a self-professed Cartier like fanboy when it comes to their vintage designs. I really, really love Cartier from the 60s, 70s, into the 80s, even into the 90s. Some of their more interesting releases. I think for a long time, Cartier was kind of underappreciated because they were seen as something... They were, seen more as a jewelry house than a watchmaker, and all of their incredible designs were just kind of discounted. With Cartier, you're paying for the design as opposed to the complication, and I'm totally okay with that. I'm shallow, and I just love pretty things. So,
But I mean, at the end of the day, what is the Nautilus and the Royal Oak,
Right.
if not
Iconic
paying
design.
for the design?
Sure,
Right.
sure.
The movement is very good. Don't get me wrong, but especially in a modern Nautilus, it's same Calatrava.
Well, and the thing
so-
with vintage Cartier, especially from the 60s and 60s into the early 70s and before, they were incredibly or they are incredibly rare because they produce so few of all the different designs. All of the the Paris, the London, and the New York workshops were working completely independently. The three Cartier brothers, they all kind of had their own domains and they all did their own thing. And one of the side effects of that is that now it's almost impossible to get good information about vintage pieces because they didn't keep good records and didn't share records, and it's been through different ownership and everything. But I think certain models at this point have gotten whatever. I mean, the crash is everywhere, and you see like Tyler the Creator wearing it, and like prices are insane and everything. But rightfully so. There's so few of those original London crashes out there that like to pay $200,000-$300,000 for doesn't strike me as crazy.
No.
No,
not at all.
Piaget, I don't know as much. I don't really know, but actually, I have been saying for a while that Piaget designs from the 70s, like there's so much value there. Some of those like funky, more
The old school polo?
No. Yeah, the 90s polo, Rob. That's the next big thing. No, like those 70s designs that you see with stone dials, with the tiger eye, the malachite, all those different interesting materials, in funky shapes. They're not super high-end movements in there.
Well, but they were. Because at the time, that whole ultra thin thing was the goal everybody was striving
Well, they were
towards,
supplying
was
to a
how
lot of
thin
people
you
as
could
well,
get.
true.
And so there actually was a lot of watchmaking.
But
I would argue that
I think that there's a ton of value there right now because again, people kind of overlooked them because it was not necessarily, a brand that had this, incredible prestige or something,
Right.
and they were just kind of, the pieces that you see like in movies like Casino or something on a mobster's wrist that
Right.
looks ridiculous, like they're actually pretty sweet.
Oh yeah,
People
There's a lot
wore
of
those
vibe
and then
there.
they
There's
threw them in a
lot of
drawer or
vibe.
whatever, or a lot were melted down. So I think like there's some good buys out there. And
The
I
new
think,
ones, those, is it the 9000 or the 900? The ones where the dial and the movement are all integrated and it's very thin.
Yeah, I think it's the 900.
900.
Yeah.
Those are very cool.
The
I like those.
Altiplanos are super interesting. Yeah. So yeah, they're doing some good new stuff too. I'm not as familiar with that stuff, but I think there's a lot of value in some of the vintage
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, cool watches. But
sorry,
not,
before we
not the same as
Before
Cartier.
we jump, no, not the same as Cartier. I agreed. Craig, do you mind grabbing the Romain Gaultier C? New York's NYC watch dude would like to see that, so we'll grab that for you, and we'll talk about that in a bit. What are we going to next?
I was since we're talking blue, and we're both wearing blue today. I thought I would go for this 70th anniversary.
No,
75th.
Come on.
I misspeak. 75th anniversary Seamaster. That's a long time to be making Seamasters.
It is.
So these were just introduced, a few months ago?
Yep.
These are very, very new.
Beginning of the summer. I
And
think.
they're all models that we're familiar with. The Seamaster Professional, the Seamaster 300. They did an Ultra Deep. They did an Aquaterra of some sort, I believe.
I don't know.
Because these are all classed as Seamasters. And there might be a Planet Ocean in there, too. So everything there is kind of very much what we're used to in the world of Seamasters. But we have a color scheme that I find really, really interesting because it almost looks like the crystal is tinted blue in these.
So Omega calls this the summer blue, and yeah, you can grab that. Thanks, Craig. We'll grab that in a minute. So this is, like I said, the summer blue, and it's got that the classic Omega wave dial, but unlike the black and the blue ones that you see. This is more of a matte finish as opposed to that like super glossy, almost like inky, liquid metal look that they do on a lot of them now. So it's a gradient dial, so it's almost like an ombre.
What do we have on the case back?
I think there's a sticker on there. Yeah, I was gonna say. So this actually has a closed
Solid.
case. This has a solid closed case back with
This
an
has a sticker on it, so you
with an
can't see it.
engraving of Poseidon and his Triton. Yeah, his Trident. Sorry. Which is a departure for the model. Usually it has that display back. But
I like this NATO.
yeah,
It's
this
cool.
yeah, it's that
a cool texture,
So you can get
cool
this on a
color.
bracelet, the NATO, or the rubber strap. And I actually really like the NATO. It just matches the dial really nicely. Ceramic bezel with enamel gradations.
And not white. It's light blue. It
Yeah.
matches the color of the loom, which I find that level of continuity really, really satisfying.
yeah.
Same
so,
thing with the date. That date window is the right background, and then it's a light
No
blue
way, I didn't even
font.
notice it. Let me see.
Yeah, no, they did it right.
Oh man, that's awesome. So it drives me crazy when
Exactly.
when watchmakers do, a cool colored dial and then just have a white date wheel with like with black text or something. It just like totally ruins the look for you. So I didn't even notice this, but yeah.
That's the best
cool.
part,
That
is
is-
you didn't notice it,
I didn't
right?
notice exactly.
What do you guys think? Date windows, to be noticed or not to be noticed? What do you like? Tell us.
Yeah, you got to be able to see it, but I like that is it blends in with the dial, which is nice.
But there are exceptions, right? Like Longa, a date window that's meant to be noticed, and that's
Yeah,
why,
big
like on a
date.
datograph,
Yeah.
right? You have a black dial, but
Yeah.
you have a white
Sure.
date window with the black font,
Sure.
and then it's like.
But
it's
on a dive
feature.
watch, the date no.
Yeah, but what if you've been underwater for days?
I was just gonna say, no one is checking that. No one needs to know what date it is.
Or
At,
you're like,
at 300 meters, you're not. I don't know. Is it the second
I'm sure
or the
there are
third
guys
today?
doing deals underwater. I'm sure there are guys doing deals. They're on the earpiece.
Probably.
They're inking the contract.
They're in the old school
Diving bell.
copper helmet with a Bluetooth in.
We
Yeah,
digress.
it's a good piece. Yeah, we digress as
We have
usual.
a YouTube
What's up?
question.
What do we got, Craig?
The awesome Pawan says
Mhm.
thoughts on JLC price increase.
Yeah, everybody has been price increasing as of recent.
Yep.
We're seeing a lot of ADs jacking up their MSRPs a substantial amount. Not like 3 or 4%. Like
Yep.
we're seeing 5-10% increases.
What did
on
Longa
some of those.
increase earlier in the year?
It was a big one.
It was-
I feel like it was a 10.
I thought it was around there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know Jorn maybe a year or two ago
Jorn could do whatever
had
he
a
wanted.
big one.
Yeah, that was
had a big
huge.
one.
It was like 15
and
or
I
something.
heard a lot of people saying it was in response to the secondary market, that they were watching the secondary market values for their watches go through the roof, and they said, we need to charge.
We
more.
want to get in on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and rightfully so, right? I mean, ultimately, if the community decides that your watch is worth this, why
Right.
shouldn't that manufacturer take notice?
Right.
To me, that makes a lot of sense. To me, it must be
See what
really
JLC went
difficult because, when we're here at the store, ultimately we decide where we want to price something. And so sometimes we chat about it, and we'll discuss it in committee, and we'll put it up, and we'll pick the price that we're going to ask for this watch. But as the manufacturer, when you're like making it and you're trying to say that this watch is worth this, that's probably not an easy job.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, like you said, it's easier for us to take a look at the market, see what people are paying elsewhere, and then
Yeah.
price accordingly. But when you are, when you
Setting
know
the
what
bar,
the
so to
materials
speak.
are, what all of your overhead is, and then figuring out what what the acceptable, profit margin is, yeah, that gets
It's
tough.
a lot to consider. And I mean, it's very funny because I know there's stories. There was a very high-end speaker company. I can't remember who it was, but a friend was telling me there was a high-end speaker company. They made like the best speaker
Okay.
anybody's ever made.
Yeah.
And I think they wanted to price it fairly, so they priced it at like 25 grand.
Yeah.
And
Jeez.
nobody bought them.
Well, yeah.
Like nobody bought them because it wasn't expensive enough. And apparently in that audiophile
Oh my
world,
God.
where you spend is almost as important as how good it sounds. So then they jacked up the price to like 100 grand, and they couldn't keep them in stock.
Really?
And what the company did in order to make themselves feel a little bit better about it is if you bought a pair of these speakers, you got 2 first-class tickets to France where they're made, and you got a private
awesome.
tour of the factory, and they made a whole experience out of it. But it was like they had to react to the fact that it wasn't about making the best product for the price point. It was about being able to say,
Meet
I bought
expectations
these
and
speakers, and they're
right.
nuts, and you don't have them.
That's insane.
Like Veyron style.
That's
you know,
completely
like,
insane.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense though if you think about the psyche of it.
It totally
Kinda
does.
wild.
It totally does. That's insane.
We're way off. All right, where's
Let's go
where's
with the
Romain?
Romain Gautier. This is the C. This is the titanium edition. And let me find the question. I want to see exactly what was asked real quick.
Oh yeah, he asked about the dial.
Is there a rationale for the off-center dial? I think it's just a design. There's not really any real reason that I know
Is
of.
the fact that it's cool?
Yeah, exactly.
enough rationale?
Is that not enough for you?
I like asymmetry.
I do too. I appreciate it.
I think it's very cool. I like it a lot. I don't know if we mentioned this before, and I probably repeat myself a lot, so I apologize to all of you. But this watch really surprised me
Yeah.
when we got it. I saw this watch in my Instagram feed a lot,
Everywhere.
and I scrolled by it most of the time because it's not really my bag, this kind of thing. But then we got it in, and I put it on my wrist, and I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
This is actually so well done.
And specifically this version on the bracelet.
Yeah.
I don't. We saw this one first, thankfully. I don't love the one on the strap. I can understand it. I appreciate it, but I feel like the design really makes sense on this integrated bracelet. It's really, it's a new design. No, it's kind of Vacheron-esque in shape,
but this
it's
does not feel derivative.
not at all. Not
Which,
at all.
in this space, this integrated sport watch space, is really
seemingly
difficult.
everything has been done. These guys.
Speak of the Polo.
Yeah, for real. But
A fine watch in its own merit, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, but you can see the inspiration very clearly. This one, I feel like it's more unique.
For sure.
It's newer.
And it's even more impressive that it comes from Gautier, known for, high-end, kind of esoteric, dressier pieces, and I know that action on the wind is awesome.
That's a
See if you
lovely
can show off
watch.
the movement. It's beautiful.
I was trying. It's always tough with these bracelet guys
Mm.
because they don't necessarily want to focus, but I mean, the architecture of the movement is super unique, super cool.
It's got that spoked ratchet wheel. Yeah, you might not be able to see it, but yeah,
Camera's
if you
getting
guys
mad.
can't see it, just hop on our website and check out the photos. This is stock number 49005. Just absolutely gorgeous movement, like Rob was saying. The construction and the kind of the geometry of that movement is like visually just very stunning. Very
Yeah.
like pleasing, and it's just nice to look at.
And it's got a lot of depth for something that's very thin.
Yeah, what is
For
the
something that is very thin and very slick on the wrist.
41 millimeter diameter, and it's 9.55 millimeters thick. So, and it just kind of melts onto your wrist with that bracelet.
It's a bracelet watch I'd be super into. And there's not a lot of those.
And I mean, going back to that off-center sub-seconds, it's got that interesting kind of like electric blue accent on it, and then the way it kind of like explodes out
Yeah.
of that, it's not uniform, and it kind of like just does its own thing. It's kind of nebulous, like it's got
Well, even the track
yeah,
there, it goes higher. It
Right.
sticks there. Like the whole thing is real
slightly
off kilter.
off-center, yeah.
Go home, see, you're drunk.
Yeah, so really, impressive.
See if you guys can see that. There's like it's one of those watches, the more you stare at it,
Yeah,
the
the
more
better
you're
it
like,
gets.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so super impressive first, kind of foray into the sports watch space.
And a really good price point for an awesome independent.
Yeah.
In this space, because you've got so many different kind of things. You've got the Moser Streamliners, and then you've got the more mainstream stuff. Obviously, you've got VC, you've got Laureatos, you've got all this kind of
Oak,
stuff.
everything.
So
So I mean, just for reference, we're asking $39.3 for this piece. So, I'm trying to even think.
which is under retail.
It is under retail. I think 45-ish is retail.
Yep.
But I want to see for well under the price of like a 15,300.
Super lightweight, really really nice.
Yeah. So
Where
a
are
fan.
your questions? Where are your comments? Where are you?
Someone's asking, Mufasa's asking, do you still have the Swatch Blancpain trivia for giveaway?
We're gonna get there.
We're getting there.
Yeah,
We're
we
getting
do
there,
still
I
have the
promise.
watch. Don't
Yeah.
worry, we didn't.
It's at
we
my
didn't,
desk right now.
We didn't steal it. It is still
We're
there.
still
Justin
formulating
wears it every day.
We're formulating a plan there. I don't, Craig. Why don't we go to this Ferrier? and then
Oh,
we
actually,
can, what do you
hold
got?
up.
What do you got? What do you got?
NYC Watch Dude, how does it compare to the LF Sport
Oh,
Auto,
interesting.
which is also a titanium?
So, Totally,
Sport watch. Is
totally
it titanium?
different.
Yeah, that is titanium.
It is.
He
yeah.
says it's titanium. We're gonna believe you.
I think it's well. They do it
Pretty
in
sure.
steel as well.
This
Anyways,
doesn't come with a toy car though.
True, it doesn't. So that first of all, being this. Well, that's steel, isn't it? The LF. Let me look. Hold on.
Okay, he's looking. While he's looking, I'll give you my opinion. I
No, you're
really
right,
like
it's titanium.
Ferrier, and we are about to talk about another very fine Ferrier that we have here on the table. But in this case, I think that the Romain Gaultier is the better watch.
This is a tough choice, honestly, because I love the Sport Auto. I really, especially in that smaller case size, because I really liked when they came out with those 6-piece Tourbillon editions, which are just wild, but they're too big. And then this is in that smaller case size. I think it's
But it's
41.
to me though, the case is the problem.
Why?
It just didn't sit right for me. It's
Huh.
maybe too blocky.
It is very
It
blocky.
doesn't have. This is so slick.
It is. It is.
Right. This is like.
Well, the Ferrier is much thicker. The bracelet itself is much blockier, much thicker. But it's by design. It's not trying to be slim.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is. And I don't know. I'd have a really hard time choosing between those two. To be totally honest. What is
Yeah,
it?
you're
Yes.
backpedaling now, which is fine. I get it. That's okay. But no, for me, the execution of this all around is just much cooler and much more interesting. And it's funny, you would think I would like the kind of cushiony
Yeah.
shape to that one, but no, this is the way. That movement's really good. The micro rotor movement's really good. So the movement
it's
thing
auto
might...
as opposed to sport watch that's manual line. I don't know. I buy both. I don't know.
That is another good shout, though. And I think actually, price point wise, I'm trying to remember where the retail and the Ferrier is, because they're
Retail was in the 60. No, retail was 49.5.
I was
Sorry.
gonna say I thought it was 53 now or something. I
Maybe
think
they
it's
went
like
up a little bit.
53. So that's a little bit more expensive. And I
But retail
think,
to retail, it's only about $5,000 off.
Yeah, only slightly.
That's a tough choice. Good
Nah,
question.
that's
Good
not
question. Tough choice.
This one. Call us.
All right, so to our final piece that we pulled out of the safe this week. This, let me get my details. So this is another Ferrier. This is the Gallet Classic. This is the double spiral tourbillon.
This
Go ahead,
is
Robert.
unassuming from the front, although
Party
it is baked
In the
enamel.
back.
And I love a baked enamel dial. There's nothing else
Well,
like
this
it.
isn't just baked enamel. This is Grand Fou enamel,
Yeah.
which is baked enamel. But if you're not aware, Grand Fou enamel is when you take a dial or a small wafer of metal, whatever, and you painstakingly apply layer after layer after layer of enamel, and you're firing at incredibly high temperature to create this like really lustrous,
Very high failure rate.
incredibly high failure rate because along with that high temperature comes cracking. So to get a piece that is perfect without any cracks or anything is incredibly difficult, and as such I believe this is one of 18 pieces total. Yeah, limited edition of 18 pieces. So this
Say on the back.
40.
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah,
18.
Yeah. So 41 mil stainless steel case. And again, show off that.
Yeah.
Show off that turb.
I was waiting for you to get there, and now I'm waiting for our camera to find me. Hello, camera. Here it comes. The suspense.
There it is.
So this is a manually wound 60-second tourbillon.
Double spiral tourbillon. So that is double hairspring tourbillon that allows the balance to stay centered on its axis while still compensating for the effects of gravity. So just like, just extra difficult, or Ferrier just upping the level of difficulty of,
But
of
that's
the watchmaking.
that's his shtick, right? Because it's the same thing with his Gallet movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you look at it and you go, whoa, like a datagraph movement, or even like that continuum movement. Sorry, the C. Wonder what happened there.
I don't know.
And why he
I'm sure
changed
they
it.
got
John
sued.
Mayer.
I would say John Mayer.
John
sued.
Mayer came after
Yeah.
him because he owns Continuum, I guess. But the Ferrier is all about like making these technical improvements and these little things that he does that are like hugely complicated in real life, but you don't know that because you can't. Our watchmaker told me that like the escapements on these are really
dry escapement.
something different. Like
Yeah.
it's very different from everything else he's worked on. And it's very cool watchmaking, and it's very understated. It's
so subtle.
very under the radar, and I love that. It's like owning a Patek repeater. You
Right.
only know if you know.
Well,
And
but even
that's
any,
good
even
enough.
people that know Ferrier, you're walking down the street or they see you at dinner or something like that, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're thinking you're just wearing just a standard Gallet.
A Gallet, yeah.
You wouldn't even know, or they wouldn't even know that it's an enamel dial, let alone that it's a double tourbillon. You know, it's
Yeah.
an insane tourbillon. Also, this is on like a really cool cork strap.
Yeah,
which
the
I
strap is cork.
I had never seen this
And it's his
before from
strap.
Ferrier. Yeah, it's a it's a branded Ferrier strap, but it's literally made of
Cork.
cork. Super cool.
I took your cork box and I turned it into a strap. Also, this is the best looking buckle in the business. No,
I guess I don't know.
come on,
I guess.
come on.
Nah, Cartier. Come
No
on.
way.
Come
The
on.
crash.
That is
The crash
so
deploy.
slick.
The
Peanut
crash
gallery
deploy.
over
Come
here.
on.
No way.
That's so basic. Look at that thing.
No, it's not.
Yes,
it
it
looks
is.
look at that buckle.
I'm looking
Look
at.
at-
You're not looking at the buckle.
We lost our main camera.
David.
No, that's a great buckle. That's like one of the nicest Tang buckles you can do.
I also love. You probably couldn't see it in the camera, but tourbillon double spiral in like super like
Yeah.
faint like gray on white lettering on the dial.
Yep.
It's just it's so cool. Such an under the radar, just
Yeah.
stealth piece. Really, really, really cool. That's an awesome one.
And another like value candidate because
Oh my
I feel
God,
like
yeah.
what they go for compared to how much watchmaking is there,
Mhm.
it's huge.
Yeah.
Gorgeous piece. Yes, Perpetual Escapements knows what's up.
What's the mechanical and warranty support for small independent watchmakers?
It's a good question. You know, depends. So there's always going to be support. You know, we have worked with everyone from Ferrier to Journe to you name it. HYT. You know, when they went bust, that was a fun story. We'll tell you about that in a minute. But basically, if you know anything or if you've serviced anything with one of the major brands, say Patek or AP or something, you already know that it's a painstaking process and that takes a long time to begin with for a major, large.
Yeah, and everything right now is
Established.
so slow.
Right.
Everybody is so
But even
slow.
in a perfect world, when there's no supply issues, there's no labor shortage, whatever it
else.
might be, it takes a long time because when you think about it, there's a lot going on in here, and in order to do it properly,
And there's very few people
Mm-hmm.
who can take that apart and put it back together and not break everything, right?
Right.
Like it's
Right.
it's a really delicate thing. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of skill and
Yes.
expertise. And when you're talking about like tourbillons or Journe centigraph or resonance or something, you're talking about stuff that's very specialized.
right. So my point being, even with large brands, it takes a long time to get something serviced properly. So if you have something like a Ferrier or a Journe or whatever it might be, expect it to take longer than it normally would take anywhere else.
But I think for the most part, a lot of these brands, especially the ones we're carrying, a lot of the ones that people are talking about, there's enough infrastructure
Absolutely.
there that I'm not worried. Like the whole HYT thing was quite a surprise to me when they like all of a sudden were like, oh, oops, sorry, we're bankrupt. You're
But-
not going
so
to see that
the
from
context there, we had a piece that was with HYT in Switzerland being serviced.
It's on the web.
It is. It's for sale now. It
currently
finally came
available.
back.
A freshly serviced HYT is on the web and available. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we should pull that out next week.
Yeah,
if
we
it's
should,
still
actually.
here,
We
just to say,
But even these small brands, I mean, you look at what Journe did last year with selling a percentage of the business in order to make sure in the future, even when he's gone and he's no more, that there's still support for the pieces that he has produced over the past 25 years or however long it's been now,
Yeah.
30 years now. So these guys. The majority of the the independents, especially the ones that we carry, that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, these companies are thinking about the future and they want to make sure that
they're
they are
making an heirloom
supporting-
quality product.
Correct.
So they have to think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it is something interesting that you probably should take into consideration when you're purchasing a piece, but I don't think you really need to be all that worried. Just
No.
be prepared for the process because
Yeah.
servicing things takes a while, takes
Yep.
longer than you would expect.
Yeah.
All right, before we wrap up, there was one news story that I saw this week that I wanted to chat about, and Robert, you've not. I don't think you've seen this story, have you?
I don't know what you're going to talk
All
about,
right.
but if it's not the one I'm thinking of, then I have one other.
Okay, so reporting just came out that a Rolex subsidiary, so a company owned by Rolex, bought the building that houses Omega's flagship boutique in Geneva.
Seriously?
Yes.
Like a roll-up subsidiary, as in Bucharest?
No, as in like Hans Wilsdorf LLC bought the building that the Omega boutique, the flagship boutique in Geneva, where it's housed. So now Omega's gonna have to cut a nice fat rent check to Rolex every month or year, however the hell they do it,
man.
in order to maintain that space.
That's like such a baller
It's
move.
so petty.
That
I love
is-
it.
I really
absolutely love it.
appreciate
It's like the
that.
funniest thing
I really,
ever.
really appreciate that you know, Rolex, this is not a shell company.com or
exactly,
something.
exactly.
Bought that building. And now they have to cut checks to their biggest competitor.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I thought that was great.
that's a big move.
Yeah.
Like, and no, you know, probably not a big repercussion for Omega, but just like made you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just like playing a little like game of chess or whatever, where it's like, you know, just we can do this right now, so
Yeah.
we're gonna grab that.
I love that. I found it very interesting that also in Geneva, FP Journe apparently has opened a
Oh, I
restaurant.
forgot. That was another good one that I wanted to talk about. So there were some good jokes about that one. The wait list for a table is 6 years long.
I don't get it. I
Must
don't
have a black
understand.
label to get a reservation. Lots of good stuff.
Who's
Apparently,
the doorman? Because that could be a very
doorman.
intimidating
Oh my gosh, right. Just trying to get
experience.
in there. I mean, apparently Journe's a big foodie and he's a big, you know.
Is that what it is? Because I saw that
He's a big wine
headline
guy
and
as well.
I was like, why?
Why
Why
not?
though?
Did
Like,
clarification.
Yes.
Did the brand open the restaurant?
Yeah,
or did
it's
they
like
personally
Restaurant
open the
FP
restaurant?
No. It's branded. It's look up the name.
yeah,
of it.
it's Restaurant de la FP Journe
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. I wanna pull it up real quick. I mean, it's legit. Like the menu looks amazing, and you know, it's just a weird story.
Oh wow, you looked at the
What?
menu. You went deep.
Well, come on. You gotta see.
Opening of
FP
Journe.
Journe Le Restaurant. Let's see. So FP Journe bills it as. Hold on.
Yeah, it's on their website.
I know. An institution for good food and good drink.
Interesting. Diversification, I guess.
The chef's name is
I don't know.
Dominique Gautier. Weird.
How much is the Daytona Panda? You can see everything on our website, and if it's not on our website, it's because it's sold, because I sold one today. So I don't think we have any Pandas available right now. Sorry, folks.
Oh, really?
But they're low 30s now.
Mhm.
They're
They've
like
come way down,
32,
yeah.
33,000 generally, which, you know, make Daytonas accessible again.
For real.
Run on that.
They are right now. Right?
Mufasa says, I support EWC sending Justin and Robert to do a tour of watches in Switzerland.
Yes. Mufasa. I like the way you think, buddy. Yes.
Who's getting us a table at Le Restaurant de FP Journe, though? That's the real question.
That's the only way I'm going to go if I get that. I think somebody mentioned they want to see the Platinum Ellipse. We have like 2 minutes, but Craig, how fast are you?
Can you go fast? 57:38?
Is it
Not the
which-
gold one.
The Platinum one. Platinum Blue
Is
Dial.
it in one of the top?
Should be in the one of the top Patek drawers. We'll see how fast Craig is, and we'll get back to. Hold on, I'm going back to the FP Journe menu here because
I like that Platinum Ellipse too, while we're waiting.
Yes.
That is a really great piece. I think the Ellipse is just starting to have a little bit of a renaissance. I think people are looking at that watch again and really appreciating it.
Yeah.
I feel like the 70s is kind of back.
yeah, it's totally back. I've
People-
been saying that for a while. Come on.
Well, you've been saying it, but I mean, like, you know.
What do I know?
Trying to say it. But I feel like the 70s is very much
Right.
back. People are
Speed.
Opening it as I go along.
into that aesthetic. You only dropped it once, right?
3 times.
So this is the Platinum Ellipse. This is a big size.
Yeah.
This is the current model. Another fantastic Tang Buckle. I know that's
That
what
one's
you all came here
excellent.
to
No,
see.
that one's amazing.
Are they all called the golden, or is it just the gold one? Because he's saying it
No,
was the gold.
it's called the Golden Ellipse, and it's
Okay.
in reference to the golden.
I'm going to put this on the wrong wrist because
it's-
I've already put my watch
It's
back on.
it's in reference to the
Oh,
golden
this is
ratio,
not
which
elegant.
was the whole idea behind the design of this piece is that it perfectly adheres to the golden ratio.
So is the gold one the golden?
The double gold.
The double
Double
yes.
gold? Is that like
Um,
double sign?
So this is the 5738 piece.
Look at
so like
that,
Rob
though.
said, this
I
is the
mean-
modern one.
And
It's-
these ones without lugs like this,
Hmm.
we had a vintage one. We might still have it with lugs, which is very interesting. It's very cool. But this, to me, this is the watch.
It's
Great size,
39
super
and a half.
thin,
Yep.
caliber 240 micro rotor, Patek's best movement,
Yep. Agreed.
platinum. Great buckle.
Platinum with the blue dial is the way to go.
Different
I
strap,
also
too.
I
They
really
put
like
the
I really like the
rounded
rose
tip on
gold
the
with the
strap.
brown dial. That one is also super
Yeah.
hot.
Yes.
But you really can't go wrong. I mean, it's just like if you need a watch for, I mean, geez, you can do. It's really, tux,
Oh,
suit. like-
Killer tux watch,
right?
especially like your midnight blue tux
Oh,
with
yeah,
this.
it'd be so
Oh,
And if you like the Queen or Drake, they both wear that.
Well, the Queen.
Well, the
I don't know if the
Queen
Queen's
doesn't
wearing an ellipse anymore. Let's.
Maybe she's buried in it.
R.I.P.
Getting dark.
Yeah. Cool piece. Thank you for asking to see that one. That's one of our favorites here as well. So guys, thank you very much. Appreciate you all tuning in. Appreciate the questions. Appreciate you guys looking for keeping Craig running and everything. Let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah,
I think we got
that's
it all.
that's about it. So
Mufasa says, "See you guys bright and early at EWC." Dr. Paul's son.
oh, it's Chris.
It's
Oh,
Chris.
What's up, Chris? I didn't know that
Your screen name threw us off. Some of the Daytona Panda and Chrono 24 are more than 33K. Yes, they are, because everybody can ask what they want, but the market dictates what it's really worth.
Exactly.